demo purposes, we are going to look at coffee machine application, which is actually running slow. The backend is powered by various different services. And because of a latency, which is experienced in one of the backend services, the end users are actually facing a delay with respect to accessing the application. So we are going to see a live demo as to how using Sumo Logic, you can observe your infrastructure stack end to end and how we are actually going to do a troubleshooting of this scenario. So you can see I am getting an end-to-end alert over here in my Slack. So this is an alert, which is an incoming webhook, which says there is a coffee prep time increase in the production environment. And here I can see the trigger time, which is happening somewhere around 5:30 a.m. Indian time. And I can see the trigger condition, which is like the latency is percentage is greater than the defined threshold over here. So I'm going to take a closer look by opening up the alert just by a click of the mouse. So here I can see the Sumo Logic interface coming up now, and I can see my alert response page here. So I can see the coffee prep time increase, which is currently getting monitored. I can see when this particular alert got triggered, etc. And I can see the condition which is actually causing this particular alert to be detected. And I can clearly see that the prep time is actually crossing my threshold limits over here. And when I come down a little bit, I can see the log messages, which is shown here. More importantly, we can see the alert context. So here I can see the related anomalies for this particular application. I can see there are two anomalies across two entities. And I can see by hovering my mouse on top of it, I can see those two anomalies over here. And one of the anomalies shows my deployment, coffee bar. The CPU usage seems to be abnormally high. And I can see 1,449% drift for around 30 minutes during the same time where I'm observing my alert. And below this, I can see my log fluctuations, which are actually being shown over here. And on the right hand side, I can see my related alerts as well, which are actually shown. So I also have a playbook where the steps which is required for troubleshooting this is clearly documented. So I'm going to open up this particular dashboard here, which is a top-down observability dashboard. Here you can see the top-down observability dashboard showing all my critical KPIs for this particular service. I can see my business KPIs shown over here, the application services along with the page load times. I can see my critical parameters for my Kubernetes infrastructure as well as my cloud infrastructure, everything in one single dashboard. And here I can see clearly for the application services, I can see my real user monitoring, the page load times. I can see there is a sudden jump with respect to the load times. So I'm going to go ahead and then going to take a closer look at this. So I'm going to the related entities over here. I can see the coffee bar app. I'm going to open it using the entity dashboard. And here you can see that I can seamlessly navigate from one dashboard to the another. You can see the time durations for which I see the alert is carried over to all the other related dashboards and the entities as well. So using Sumo Logic, you can seamlessly navigate between your logs, your metrics, as well as your events. All the dashboards I am showing you, a lot of them are coming out of the box. You can prepare your own dashboards as well, and then you can link it to your overall infrastructure. So here I'm looking at my real user monitoring overview of my application. And you can see my page load time here, the requests. And if I come down a little bit, I can see the website performance average. I can see there is a sudden jump, huge increase with respect to my latencies, processing, etc. I can also see the UI paint timings are suddenly going up. It's suddenly jumping around the same time frame. So I can also see the top browsers here, as well as the top operating systems. Now that I clearly see a jump with respect to my latency, I would like to go and take a look at the backend services which are powering this particular front end. So I'm looking at the application health across services, and you can see the golden signals here, which is the latency, the requests, errors, everything shown in one single dashboard. You can see the application details over here, and I can clearly see the application architecture as part of this panel. So here I can see the coffee bar front end where the latencies are actually happening. I can see the relationship between all my different entities out here. And I can see the coffee bar is actually talking to my, the front end is talking to the coffee bar, which is related to the coffee machine, etc. So this shows the issue seems to be originating from the coffee machine. I can also see the latencies, the service latencies by various different services. So here I'm looking at my coffee bar application, my coffee machine over here, which clearly shows a jump with respect to the latency. So I'm going to take a closer look at the latencies over here. And again, I'm going to go to my related entities and I'm looking at my coffee machine. I want to go and take a closer look at all my different traces. So all that I need to do is just click the open end, and then I can go to traces in this particular case. So here you can see the tracing window open here. The filters are automatically selected for the coffee machine service, and I'm looking at the time durations automatically populated here. And I can clearly see the coffee machine contributing to the latencies over here. I'm going to sort down by the durations to see all those traces where I'm seeing latency, higher latencies. Looks like all those places where I have a higher latency, I can see the copy machine being a major contributor over here. So looks like the issue is with the copy machine. I want to take a closer look at one of these particular traces. So here I can again clearly see that the coffee machine service contributing to the major latency out here. And I can also see all those different spans. And I we click on one of these particular spans, I can see a rich set of metadata, which is being shown for all these traces and spans. I can see the span ID, the trace ID. I can see the parent span. When did this start? When did it end? What is the status code of it? What is the critical path contribution? I can see all of them over here. And if I'm having my infrastructure hosted on Kubernetes, then again, I can see a rich set of metadata, which helps me to get additional context around this particular service. And I'm going back to my entities out here. And in the entities, I can see the coffee machine. Again, it is showing a jump with respect to the latency over here. I'm looking at my application. Again, I see the latency basically jumping up. And then I can see the container as well as the pod here. So it looks like this particular service has only one single pod. So I'm going to take a closer look at this particular pod. So I'm opening up my pod now. So here you can see the Explorer entity, the Explorer opening up my Kubernetes. So with Kubernetes, I can actually look at my infrastructure as part of my service view, namespace view, node view, deployment view. Depending on what I want to see, I can open my Explorer to view any of this particular views. So I'm looking at the pod here, and I can see the pod status, which is showing up in green. Everything seems to be good up and running. I can see the pod state here, which is always up. I don't see any issues over here. And I can see my pod info. I can see my memory usage limits. Everything seems to be okay. But what I see here is that I can see my CPU usage versus limits versus request. I can see there is a sudden jump with respect to my CPU usage. So I'm going to go ahead and then I'm going to open up my logs for this particular coffee machine, because the various different metrics that we see, these are like smoke detectors. So the metrics tell us like things have been bad, things are not looking good, etc. But they don't tell us why it is bad. So the why is hidden inside the logs. So I'm going to go into the logs. So I'm going to the coffee machine here, and I'm going to open up my logs for this particular coffee machine service. And here I can see the data automatically filled up over here, and I can see all my logs which are gathered and readily available for me to go through. There are around 177 results here. This is the place where we can make use of the analytics provided by Sumo Logic, where I can simply do a log reduce functionality. So just by click of a mouse, I launched a log reduce. Log reduce is a patented technology from Sumo Logic, and what log reduce does is that it groups the logs into patterns, which we call it as signatures. So here you can see there are 37 messages. There are 37 signatures out here, which are grouped together. The stars show the variable over here. All those messages are of a similar type. Here you can see the error clearly showing up. The thread is stuck in a kernel module for 1800 seconds, which seems to be causing a problem here. And if I go ahead and then take a closer look at the counts, which are 1 or 2, I can clearly see that this problem is caused by the admin Joe when he was trying to do some sort of an upgrade. So how can I make sure that this is a new problem which has not been occurring earlier? I can do a log compare. So let me launch the log compare. Maybe I can go back by 2 hours and see if this problem was there before. So I'm going to do a log compare functionality. So here I can see the system is doing a log comparison by 2 hours. So what is happening in the background is that the system is taking the current set of logs and creates the signatures. It also goes back by 2 hours and picks up the data and creates the signatures. And more importantly, compares these two environments and tells us what is the difference. And here I can see the 37 messages that we see here. This is actually new, which means that 2 hours before it was not there. Similarly, you can see there is a 43% reduction. This is 60% reduction, this type of messages, etc. I go back to my lower count ones, and I can clearly see that this upgrade information that we are seeing over here is also new. So this clearly shows that the problem is actually caused by the activity caused by admin over here. So to quickly summarize, you can see the rich set of data which Sumo Logic has collected for this environment, which helps us to seamlessly troubleshoot this particular error scenario, where I am able to see an alert which has actually come to my environment. And by clicking on this alert, I am actually taken to my alert response page, which clearly shows me what the error condition is all about. I can see my alert context, and I can also see the log fluctuations over here. I have my playbooks, I have my related entities, related alerts, everything here. So I can go to my playbook. I am getting onto my KPIs over here, which shows the high level summary. And I can see the real user monitoring page loads taking a lot of time. And I can go to my related entities seamlessly. And I can look at all my services, the backend services. I can move back to my traces from here to check whether the applications are performing well, where the latencies are actually happening. So I can clearly see that the coffee machine seems to be contributing to the latency over here. And to get to the root cause of it, I'm actually getting on to my pod, a single pod, which is part of this particular service. And then when I look at the logs, I can clearly see that there are errors which are actually happening. And that error seems to be caused by the activity triggered by an admin. So by collecting all the data using Sumo Logic, you can get complete visibility of your environment, as well as you can do all your monitoring, as well as your troubleshooting to maintain very high levels of availability for your applications. So that's a very quick overview about the application observability using Sumo Logic. Feel free to ask any questions that you have, and I will be answering those questions now. There is a question which is asking about how do we collect data for a Kubernetes environment. So for Kubernetes, we provide well-documented methods to collect data in the form of logs, metrics, events, security events, etc. So as part of that, we can collect the tracing information as well. With Sumo Logic, we support open telemetry as a method to instrument your application, collect all your traces, spans, etc. The methods are well documented. Using that, you can collect all your data, and then you can seamlessly send all the data into the Sumo Logic platform. I'm waiting for any more questions. While we wait for the questions, you can sign up for a free trial. Sumo Logic provides 30 days free trial. So you can explore the platform, you can bring in data, and then you can try out the platform. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach back to us, sales@sumologic.com, and then we will get back to you. We also have a public channel where you can join us, you can ask questions, and then you can interact with the rest of the Sumo community as well. Looks like there are no more questions. Thank you for joining the live demo today with Sumo Logic Observability. I wish you a very good day.